Let's pay homage to the lineage gurus, homage to the Venerable Mang Liao Ming, homage to Master Sake Tsung Kong, homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, and homage to Master Dubten Dorji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of the group practice this evening. From the Maha Twin Lotus Ponds, Padma Kumara. Semu, Tansen Gatso, Dubten Siti, Dubten Kama. All Dharma masters, Dharma lecturers, Dharma teachers, Dharma instructors, Dharma teaching assistants, temple and center directors, and all disciples present here and over the internet. Good evening, how do you do?
I stayed Olamiko, que quiero mucho. Skoin, Ijiba, Kimoji, Jumi, Yapi, Puri, Komawa.
Now, be seated on this Dharma throne. I was thinking originally this afternoon, after giving spiritual consultation, I stayed in my own room. In this kind of weather, I was thinking it's most comfortable to be inside or under the blanket and have a nap. That I don't have to nap on the Dharma throne. And after her spiritual consultation, I slept from 3:30 to 5:30. How many hours was that? 2 hours. So I should be very awake at night, but as soon as I get to this Dharma throne, I was hanging my head. And what's the reason? Every Saturday night to be seated on this Dharma throne, I would be nodding my head or falling asleep, drowsing. What's going on with this Dharma throne? Something wrong with this Dharma throne. Someone must have cast a magic spell. It's a sleeping spell. As soon as I'm seated here, I would be drowsy. I have slept for 2 hours in the afternoon, and yet in the evening I still felt drowsy. I just can't believe it, but I have to believe it. So, like I often said, might as well put a bed here, and then with a pillow and a blanket, and then I would teach after I wake up.
我觉得自己好像年纪大。
I find myself, and at old age, that's a sign of old age. It didn't happen before. At old age, I sleep in the daytime and I sleep really well, or I sleep soundly at night. After getting home, after performing my practices and yoga and a few cleaning up, I would go to bed at 2 a.m. But I would sleep through the night till the next morning. So I sleep more and more nowadays. And then one day, I would sleep and never wake up. And then there would be peace on earth. No more anything. No. But in giving Dharma teaching, I'm fully awake. I knew what we are practicing today. Padma Kumara. I did not make a mistake. Let me share a joke first. When I was little, in our writing essays, we would always say about my aspiration when the teacher asked us. And the topic is my aspiration. When I was young, in my heart, the teachers are the greatest, and I was most scared of the teachers. So my aspiration generally is to be a teacher. My aspiration is I want to be a teacher because they are very grand and they can use the rattan rod, because back then you can educate by beating and scolding if you are disobedient. Some wants to be an athlete, some wants to be an astronaut, and many people aspire to become a president. Once you grow up, you know there's one thing that's very important. So my new aspiration is to become the child of a rich family. Nobody would write that in the past, but now, yes. A young man went up the mountain to see an old monk, and the young man asked the old monk, for celebrities, they get divorced frequently and get married again. What do you think? And then the master pointed to the birds on the trees. Look at them, and you'd understand. And the young man said, "Oh, did you mean the meaning of love is like the bird? They look very peaceful and normal, but as soon as they flap their wings, they can fly into the boundless sky. And the master said, no. What business is yours that others are getting divorced? There's a car that passed by a small village and ran over a duck until it's flat. And the driver picked it up. Actually, it's a chicken. And then asked a young boy, did this belong to you? No, because my chicken look exactly, and the color look exactly the same, but it's not flat. So today, the male colleague and female colleague are working together and chatting. And the male colleague saw her hand to be really fair and white and praised her. And then she said, oh, there are other parts that's even fairer. Would you like to see? And the male colleague was really excited, and his heartbeats sped up. And she opened her mouth and showed him her teeth. Sometimes the jokes that they give me are not jokes that I like to tell. Some are funny, some are not funny. Sometimes I can't even laugh at it. But because someone gave me the joke, so I should share a few at least. Now, let's talk about the main topic. Question from Malaysia. How do you pronounce this character? How do you pronounce this?
3点水，上面一个日，底下一个天。这个稀有文字。
This is a very rare character from Malaysia.
如果要读边，没有边。读上面是日，读下面是天，到底要读什么？啊？浩。
How you pronounce it as how?
3点水，那上面一个日，下面一个天，读是浩。台湾话的在考啊。莲花楚天。楚号。我学这个华语啊，应该是算是最多的。
I've learned the most.
字叫什么意思？
I know the most Chinese, but I don't know about this character. It's very rare. What does it mean?
水晶呐。水很清呐。
It's like
水很清就是莲花楚清吧。
A clear, quiet water. So, prostration to Guru Buddha. While reciting the verses of the chapter on Samantabhadra's conduct and vows, or acting on his vows, I deeply felt the profound and moving nature of its content. I believe that contemplating its meaning during the dedication of merits and making vows would be even more meaningful. The sutra states, when such a person is nearing the end of life at the final moment, all their faculties will disintegrate, all relatives will depart, power and influence will vanish. Ministers, advisors, the inner palace and outer city, elephants, horses, carriages, treasures and stored wealth, none of this will accompany them. At that time, guiding them forward in an instant, they will be reborn in the pure land of utmost bliss. Surrounded by lotus flowers, they will see themselves born within the lotus and receive a prophecy of Buddhahood. It also states, after receiving this prophecy for countless hundreds of thousands of millions of nayudas of kalpas, they will fulfill the needs of all beings in indescribable and inconceivable worlds in the 10 directions, using the power of wisdom to benefit them. Soon they will sit upon the Bodhi throne and subdue the armies of Mara. And furthermore it says, therefore, if a person recites these vows, they will move through the world without hindrance. Your disciple feel a deep yearning for this and wish to generate the great body mind through the power of these vows. Although I have lots of time for personal practice, I dare not modify the sadhana without your permission. So I respectfully request for your guidance. May I add the recitation of this verse of Samantabhadra's acting on his vows during the merit dedication to increase my merit? Please advise. Endless gratitude. So Samantabhadra Bodhisattva has 10 vows. One is to pay homage to all the Buddhas, and fourth, to repent the Bhadra, and then to generate merit, to pray for the Buddha to stay in samsara, to complete, to follow the Buddhas, and to praise the Tathagatas, to make abundant offerings, to rejoice in the merit of others, and to request the Buddha to remain in the world, and to turn the Dhamma wheel, and to always follow the teachings of the Buddhas, and to fulfill the needs of sentient beings, and dedicate the merits to all sentient beings. The 10 great vows of Samantabhadra Bodhisattva. So if you want to add this verse of Samantabhadra's acting on his vows, of course you can. So what is the sadhana or practice procedure? It's the steps of our spiritual cultivation or Dhamma practices. But for the merit dedication, how much more or how much less or however you want to merit dedication, you can do so. You don't have to follow exactly the words. May all uphold the Buddha, ascend to the realm utmost bliss, repaying fourfold generosity from above, aiding those in the 3 realms below. Upon seeing the Buddha, may we transcend life and death like the Buddha, may we liberate all. That's to go to Sukhavati. And you can add this. especially in the sutra, it states these benefits. And in your heart, you like to add this. You say, okay. You add it to your own sadhana, your own chanting. That would be fine. For the merit dedication, you can do so. Just remember the principles at the beginning part of the practice, the main part, and the ending part. The beginning part is usually the same. Visualization, chanting mantra. Oh no, the main part involves the visualization, chanting mantra, forming mudra, entering samadhi. And the beginning part is great prostration, great offering, fourfold refuge, or four immeasurables. But the main part is the most important. The ending part is merit dedication. And whether you want to add something or subtract something, it's all fine. It's up to you, whatever you like. It's okay if you want to add something. The key point is do not mess it up. First you visualize, form the mudra. After you finish your visualization, you chant mantras to stabilize or strengthen it. And then you enter samadhi. And you do quiet contemplation. So first you visualize and then chant the mantra and then enter samadhi. Those are the steps in the main part of the practice. And for the ending part, especially during the merit dedication, you can do as you like. I don't want to go to the western Pure Land of Sukhavati. I want to go to the eastern Pure Land of Lapis Lazuli Light. That's fine. Or you want to go to Akshobhya Buddha's Pure Land, Abhirati. That's fine. Or you can dedicate the merit to go to the Buddhaverse of Omnifragrance. No, you don't have to go to Sukhavati. You can chant whichever Pure Land you like to go. If you like the Potaloka Pure Land of Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, then you can dedicate the merit that. So, in my opinion, for merit dedication, you can do as you like. You can add or subtract. Let me check if my answer was correct or not. And the Buddha and Bodhisattva said, that's correct. Just make sure that the key points are correct. So let's say you're on a plane and performing the great prostration, everybody is seated and then you're performing it on the aisles, then that's not right. Then at such a time, it's okay not to do the beginning part, or you use the visualization if you have time. So in some situations, you can just do the main part, say on the plane. When Grandmaster gets on the plane, first I would practice the main part of the Yidam practice, Yidam yoga. And once I'm in union with the Yidam, it doesn't matter how the plane flies. It's none of our control. It's the business of the pilots. I would not be concerned about how the plane is doing. As soon as I get on the plane, I would be in union with the Yidam. If suddenly the plane has something wrong with the plane, in a split second, you're already, you would go to the Pure Land of the Yidam, you're already in union with the Yidam. Some people have a flight paranoia, so boarding paranoia. They would tremble as soon as get on the plane, but not for me. I would be at peace and at ease because I've done my practice and already in union with the deity. So it doesn't matter what will happen. I don't care. Because for a human being, you will die sooner or later, just like when you're on the phone. It's either you hang up first or I hang up first. It's no big deal to die. If it's time to die, you'll die. There's nothing to be afraid of. So even if you live through it, you'll just live through for a few more years. Like that movie, Nacha. My life is in my control and not by the heavens or destiny, because they are sage. So I can control my own life and death. They can be in control. So if you cultivate until you reach the realm of the sagehood, then you can say that. My life is in my control, not in the control of faith or destiny. So only someone that has reached sagehood can make such a statement. They can be or do whatever they like. So the answer to Lian Hua Chu Hao from Malaysia. Now I remember this character. It's my first time I saw this character, Chinese character. How? In Chinese, in Taiwanese, it would be cow, and that's kind of that's a curse word. Not really a bad one. The husband and the wife were fighting, and the wife was really angry. Get your things out and stay far away. And the husband got a quick idea, and then he grabbed the wife and then ran away. And the wife said, "Put me down, I'm not things." There's a saying that if you're fair skin, then it would cover your three shortcomings. But if you're heavy, then all your good parts are gone. S. Now I know. No, this is like S meaning slim. M is beautiful. L is yeah. This is with Chinese. You know the figure of Hui Jun's is round. Other people's figure is typically long, but she's round. And in a while, we'll talk about the 32 hallmarks of the Buddha, or 32 marks of perfection. Our feet always have that arch, right, at the soles, but her soles are completely flat. In Taiwanese, we say no arches at all, right, at our sole, but not hers. Hers is completely flat, so she walks like a duck, and she's round. One time, we went on a car, and the car door opened, and she almost fell off the car. And I said, "It's okay, don't worry. If you fall to the ground, you would bounce back because it's like a balloon." One time, there was like on the porch, they were all wearing their shoes, and they were like looking down, and then her behind bumped into Simu's behind, and then pushed Simu to the wall like a lizard, like a wall lizard, and then falling to the ground. So she was quite bouncy. So their benefit of being round. Now let's expound on the Surangama Sutra. The Buddha said to Ananda, "You and I share the same breath. Our bond is as close as that of family." So the Buddha said to Ananda, "What is sharing the same breath?" We often say this. Came from the same source or ancestor. So Sakyamuni Buddha was the prince of King Suddhodana. There were several kings there, and there were 8 princes who followed Sakyamuni Buddha to be ordained to become monks. This is playfuls of Chinese, because in Chinese Suddhodana sounds like a white rice king or green rice king. So the father of Sakyamuni Buddha is Suddhodana. And Ananda and Ananda's father was also a king. The white king or green king. Oh. So they had the same ancestor. Because Ananda was a paternal cousin of Sakyamuni Buddha. He was the younger brother of King Suddhodana, the king of Amdrodana. But in Chinese, it can be played with homophone.
他们也是那个王，也是同一个祖先。
So of the 8 princes who became monks, Ananda was one of them. So they were the same generation from the same ancestor. So they had some bond, familial bond, like brothers. So when you first resolved to follow the path, what extraordinary aspect of my teachings did you see that made you suddenly renounce the deep attachment and worldly affections? So back then, you wanted to become a monk and resolved to follow the Buddha's path. What did you see that you wanted to become a monk? What's so special that you felt that suddenly you wanted to become ordained as a prince? It's not easy. So what have you seen? Anything extraordinary that you suddenly felt wanted to renunciate and let go all worldly things, wealth, sensual pleasures or beauties, and name, like as a prince. You let go of all those. So all the attachments and affections of the world and became ordained to cultivate spiritually. The same with Sakyamuni Buddha. When he was prince, he had the queen and many concubines and consorts, and he cut off all those affections and became a monk. And Ananda replied to the Buddha, I saw the Tathagata's 32 hallmarks. He saw how Sakyamuni Buddha looked. That's the 32 marks of perfection of the Buddha and the 80 secondary marks of perfect conducts. Are the 32 hallmarks? Many of them, as I said, and they include. What do they include? What Huijin Sansis have? Flat souls. The souls of the Buddha are also flat. It's one of the 32 hallmarks. So Huijin has spiritual root. Not just she's round, her feet are flat. It can be flat on the ground. But most of our feet have some arch. But her feet are flat. So most important marks of the 32 hallmarks are flat soles, and then there is the marks of Dharma wheel on the soles and flat soles. That's one of the 32 hallmarks. And when you stand up and hanging your arms, the two hands are below the knees. Anyone can do that? can be like that?
有没有？有没有人手超过膝盖？手很长，
Anyone have such
超
a
过
mark?
膝盖的，这是32项当中其中的一项。
That's one of the 32
释迦牟
hallmarks.
尼佛的手很长，
Sakyamuni Buddha's arms are very long, hanging below the knees.
还有一点，
And one more,
头上有个肉髻，
there is a head bump on top of the
有
head,
个肉髻，头上有肉髻，
a flesh,
这里
protruding flesh, Ushnisha. All of a sudden, there's a bump,
如果是
like a
现在
protruding
头上有一个肉髻，
flesh.
这生
But
瘤，头上
people nowadays, we would say they have
头
tumor.
上瘤，这连满上师的侄子吧？
Was it Master Lianman's nephew
他头上有一个肉髻，
who had the
那参加我那个
tumor
香港大
on
主
his
持
head? And he attended my ceremony in the stadium in Hong Kong, and the tumor disappeared on that day.
那是肉瘤，不是肉髻。
But that's a tumor growth, not Ushnisha.
这是32项，
That's one of the 32 hallmarks.
上面头上都有一个
All Buddhas have that
那个就是
protruding
肉髻
flesh.
圆的那个就是
That's
肉髻
called Ushnisha,
释迦牟尼佛也有
head bump. Sakyamuni Buddha too had that.
广长舌相。
And the next one is the long
广长舌相
and
是什么
broad
相32项当中一种广长舌相。
What is
舌头
that?
伸出来，
When he extended his tongue, it would cover the whole face.
那个叫广长舌相。现在哪里有
That's the mark of the tongue.
盖住的？
Is there anyone that has that nowadays, that can cover the whole face?
真的是32项其中的一个广长舌相。
So one of the 32 hallmarks is that broad and long tongue. And another one
他
is
的耳朵
the earlobes
不是小
touching the
耳朵
shoulder.
像老鼠一样，
It's not tiny
已经很大就
earlobes,
可以双耳垂肩。
but if you pull them often, then
这
they would
耳
reach
朵
your
的下
shoulder.
垂肉就会
shoulders.
长出来，然后这个肉呢，比这个嘴的这一条线
So
低的，
the earlobes are below
就叫双耳
the
垂肩。
the
你
lips.
的耳朵底下
That's
超过你的
called
嘴巴，
that's called the earlobes reaching the shoulders. Anyone? Raise your hand if you have that.
这个耳朵的长度已经超过你这个嘴巴，这嘴底下，那也是32项之一。你看，
That's also one of the 32 hallmarks.
哦，
The earlobes of the Buddhas are all very long, very huge.
那是32项。
That's the 32
他说那个
hallmarks.
阿难就讲嘛，
So
我看到
Ananda
释迦牟
said,
尼佛的32项
I saw the 32 hallmarks
圣妙
of perfection of Sakyamuni Buddha.
很少人有，
They are
相貌
supreme,
非常的好，
very rare,
就是超
very
过别人
exquisite,
妙，非常的微妙，
and
殊
exceeding everybody else.
绝，
So
没有人这样
marvelous,
子的相貌，没有。
very extraordinary, and nobody else, and unique. Nobody else has it.
琉璃，他的身
And
体
your form is radiant and translucent like lapis
非
lazuli.
常的亮，
So the skin, the body are very luminous or radiant
做琉璃
like lapis lazuli.
这个
Nowadays, people especially
很多种颜色，
make lapis lazuli in many different colors.
就是黄金色的、金色的
His
琉璃
body is
黄金
golden,
色释迦牟尼佛
golden lapis lazuli.
是他的身体啊，
Sakyamuni Buddha's body is purple golden, very bright and brilliant. So we call it a golden body. Golden body are radiant and bright. That's also part of the ritual hallmarks. Like lapis lazuli, translucent and luminous. So Ananda often reflected that such hallmarks cannot arise from desire and attachment, or general mundane beings who are born from desire and love. So we are all born from the love and desire of our parents. So why is it that way? Why is it so? Because the energy of desire is coarse and impure. So the qi, or the aura, the subtle energy of mundane beings are really not that great. Sometimes they have bad breath, very turbid, very foul, and their tears are like urine, and their mucus would flow, and then the saliva is you would drool when sleeping. That's yucky. And then dandruff on their heads or hair, all dirty stuff, a dirty smell, and things excreted from the skin pores or from armpits. Oh. When I was young and I was short, and then in the public bus, and they would hold on the bus, would hold, and that's body odor, or someone coming in for spiritual contemplation, and they took off the shoes, they take off the shoes, and the stinky smell. The whole room was filled with it. Or if you don't launder your clothes also. When a human is still alive, it's not that bad, but once you die, that would be even worse and horrible. We had a forensic doctor called Yang Le-sung in Taiwan. He studied in Japan, a forensic doctor. I think he had to check how someone died. So he just dipped the water of the corpse and then licked it with his tongue, and he would know immediately how they died. That was really foul smelling. So Yang Le-sung always dip his finger or touch the finger in the water from the corpse and to find out what had happened. So he was very responsible and dutiful. So he would know that someone was poisoned and what kind of poison was used. And he would know by smelling the odor of the corpse, and that was very repulsive and very dirty. And finally, he got the marks of like corpses. It was quite scary. So humans, the physical bodies of general mundane beings are very dirty, coarse and impure, foul and repulsive, mingled with pus and blood. Surgeons would know. Inflame and pus and blood. It cannot give rise to such a supreme, pure, wondrous and radiant gathering of golden light. Because Sakyamuni Buddha's body is very pure, translucent, and it's radiant like the purple golden light. That's how Sakyamuni Buddha looked. Because he saw that, he longed to have his body to be like Sakyamuni Buddha, endowed with 32 hallmarks. So he resolved to renounce the worldly life and became a monk. So Ananda was ordained because he saw the 32 hallmarks of Sakyamuni Buddha, the golden purple light, translucent, radiant, luminous body, and with exquisite, magnificent looks that's unique and cannot be found in the world. So by seeing that, he followed the footsteps of the Buddha and asked Sakyamuni Buddha to ordain him. Should I continue? And then the Buddha said, "Excellent Ananda, the Venerable Ananda, you all must understand that all sentient beings, since time without beginning, have been bound by the cycle of birth and death, all because they do not recognize the ever-abiding true mind and the inherently pure and luminous nature." Sakyamuni Buddha said, "Ananda, you said it very well. You all should know that all sentient beings, since time without beginning, have been bound by the cycle of birth and death, the rebirth cycle, cannot leave behind samsara. It's all because they do not recognize the ever-abiding true mind and the inherently pure and luminous nature. They do not know that they have this ever-abiding true mind. That's Buddha nature. Humans do not know that inside their bodies they have Buddha nature in it. And that is ever-abiding true mind, the eternally abiding Buddha nature. Humans do not know that they have the eternal Buddha nature. And this original Buddha nature is pure and bright, immaculate, without any impurities at all. Radiant body. They rely on random thoughts deluded thoughts, what we think, are all not correct. They are all called random wandering thoughts. So all your thoughts are not the truth. Only the inherently pure and luminous nature is the truth, is real, and the rest are not real. That's why there is samsara. So why a human would be reincarnated to another place and continually cycling in this rebirth cycle and unable to be liberated from it? That's because you have not seen your own radiant nature or body, that you do not know you have Buddha nature, and you keep thinking about everything that's not real. Our desires is about money, wealth, sex, food, fame, and sleep. These are the 5 major desires, and they are not real. But every day you're just bound by them. That's why humans are always cycling in the rebirth cycle. After this life, another lifetime, endlessly. Now that you seek to study the unsurpassed Bodhi, today you want to know how to be liberated. There is nothing better than this. To be liberated, to truly awaken your intrinsic nature, to understand about the luminous body, your original Buddha nature. So you must answer my questions with a straightforward and sincere mind. You should answer directly. I will ask you questions, and you must answer directly. So, whatever questions I ask, you must answer it with a straightforward and honest mind. All Buddhas of the 10 directions, or Tathagatas, all the Buddhas, Dharma, and Sangha of the 10 directions. So Tathagatas are the same as Buddhas. Follow the single path. They all practice the same Dharma, the same understanding their own true mind, understand their own Buddha nature. To be liberated from birth and death, to transcend birth and death, to be liberated from samsara. And it is through direct mind. They have attainment through the straight mind, or the pure and luminous nature. Because the Buddha nature and the mind are real. Because their minds and words are straight, from the very beginning to the final stage, there is never any deviation or distortion in the path. So their path is completely straight. There is no detour or roundabouts or curving path. They all walk the same path, one Dharma, and attaining Buddhahood directly. They do not get off track or go to other places and not twisting and turning without any deviation or distortion in their path. So, this passage from here to here, straight mind. We can say that straight mind is the true mind. So, they clearly recognize this true mind that can transcend birth and death. And the path is straight, no twisting and turnings. That's spoken by Sakyamuni Buddha. And tomorrow we will continue. Let me tell you here. They would talk about the mind. Dharma, Buddha Dharma first encountered Shen Guang. Shen Guang was the first one to seek Bodhidharma, right? And Shen Guang told Bodhidharma, I have no peace in my mind or heart mind. And Bodhidharma asked him, so I would give you peace if you give me your heart and mind. And Shen Guang said, I cannot find my mind or my heart. And then Bodhidharma told him that your mind is now at peace. So here, later on, it would talk about this. It's a little bit like the Six Patriarchs Platform Sutra. When Shen Guang met Bodhidharma, he said, my heart mind is not at peace. Give me your heart mind, I will give you peace. I would pacify it. And he could not find it. Then Bodhidharma told him, then it's already at peace because you don't have any heart mind. So what is it that needs to be pacified? That's quite philosophical. One going to buy drinks and a lady, a beautiful lady, ordered the oolong tea. I don't know what it is. I never drink teas. It's oolong green tea. And the seller asked, do you want ice on it? And then she replied, normal. And the sweetness? Like how much sugar? And she said, as sweet as I am. And the seller said, 10 parts of sugar or sweetness. And then there's a man. And the man said, I like to have the same one. So oolong green tea and ice normal. And how about the sweetness? And he smiled and said, as sweet as I am. So the seller just looked at him a little and turned around and told, oolong tea without any sugar. Not sweet at all. How could a man be sweet? The man should be salty. A young man said, meeting a bad guy and said, don't I'm also a bad guy when I was young. So you're not a good guy? How bad are you? I'm only 1.4 meters. My only regret in the past, I was 1 meter, 1.63 meter, 163 centimeters. And now I'm only 158 centimeters. So the cells shrink, the bones shrink. They always say, they always like their boyfriends to be tall and handsome. And I said, so the short ones are no good? You have to have the tall and handsome one? So they all want a good body and tall and handsome. What can I say? You know, when I was little, what I ate? In my lunches, just 3 potatoes. The Taiwanese would say yams. In mainland China, they're called sweet potatoes.
potato. 懂吗？这番薯呀，番薯嘛是叫做 potato。那个马铃薯
Hanjis are called potatoes.
在中国大陆就叫土豆，在台湾就叫番薯。
Hanji in Taiwanese and 土豆 in China.
午餐。
So every lunch I have three yams. That's all.
然后呢，我小时候小学的时候。
And then in elementary school.
来不及番薯给我。
And if they don't have time to prepare the yams, we would go to the market and would buy me just meatless or peanuts rice dumpling. No meat. We call it kind of vegetarian rice dumpling. Have you eaten that? In Taiwan, they put peanuts and wrap in bamboo leaves. 2 of those. And that's my lunch box. That's what's in my lunch box to school. My family was poor, had no money. That's all I ate, and of course this is how tall I grew to be. I didn't have enough nutrients, so it was not good development. So I was a no good youth, now I'm a no good old man. Oh, Mani Bemi Home.